Um, we are recording this, just so you know. So I thought this for this week, I'll give you the opportunity if anybody has any questions, burning questions from last week. And then if not, I'll do a review. And then we'll start with our new information. And at the end, then we'll have questions. So does anybody have any burning questions from last time?
Was the recording from last week distributed?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so I didn't miss anything then.
No, I'll just, by tomorrow, I'll distribute this today's and last week's.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you try any of the techniques? No.
Sorry, no.
That's okay. So sometimes we just have to hear about things and you got to hear about them a while until you one day you just remember and you start randomly doing it. Michelle was saying that she was doing the handshaking one
Oh,
and her
I
husband
did
was
that
like, "What are you doing?"
I did that a couple of times.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so you did try.
I forgot.
And as far as sleep goes, Neil, what were you trying for breath for sleep?
Yeah, actually, just the kind of emptying, I guess. I think that's the way you phrased it, which was a kind of a different way of thinking about it, but that's really what it is. It's, the monkey mind kind of going and try to empty that, so that I guess make room, for the sleep process to start.
Yeah.
And I didn't have much success yet, so
Okay.
yeah.
I've had trouble with my sleep for the last 3 years, and I have taken all kind of different certifications and trainings to try to figure it out. Like IIN, like integrative nutrition and health coaching, I mean, like thousands of dollars. I've been on a quest,
Wow.
and the stuff that I'm teaching you with the somatics and the nervous system is making a giant difference for me. Now, everybody's super unique, so maybe it won't for you, but if it does, it'll be worth every bit of your time to, come for the next this today and the next time and then repeat the lessons
Yeah.
to see because, you know, sleeping is basically feeling safe enough to let yourself relax,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Been trying to find, I subscribe to Insight Timer for
mhm.
meditation app and trying to find the right one. There's thousands out there, I'm
Yep.
sure, as you know.
Yep.
But one that's the right length. Some of them are very long, and that's almost going to keep you up, potentially. And I did have one of the ones that was about 33 minutes. And honest to goodness, I fell asleep, I think probably 3 minutes into it because I woke up and I looked and it says you completed 33 minutes. But I felt really good, but I haven't been able to replicate that.
Yoga
Um,
Nidra is something I recommend you explore.
yeah,
Um,
that was one of the ones I actually just did it again last night. Yoga Nidra, kind of specifically for sleeping.
yes. Somebody was asking me if the meditation was good, and I was like, I don't know. I've never heard past a minute. So,
Is there, so you're out?
yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I don't know if it's because I just thought it was so boring or so relaxing. I don't know what it was, but yeah, and so for me, like falling asleep has not been my trouble. It's staying asleep at night,
I see.
So the lights, but and I'll talk more about that kind of stuff next time because all of this, all that we're doing, it's going to affect every part of your life. Once you
Yeah,
find your thing, it's going to affect so much of the way that you live and like your and anxieties that come up or if your blood pressure feels high or if you notice that you're rushing around and everything that we're doing. And so just to review last week, and I have my notes, you guys, know so much information that I do need to use these or else we'll be talking about like outer space, like all kind of stuff. But the breath is something that as soon as you pay attention to it, you start to breathe better. So just the simple act of if you don't remember any technique, just knowing that if you pay attention to your breath, you're going to improve the way you breathe. It's as simple as that. Or just if you pay attention to anything, your house plant, it's probably going to do a lot better. And then breath is the only autonomic function that we can control. So you cannot control your pupils dilating or how quickly you're digesting, but you can control the way that you breathe. And this controlling of the breath affects all of the other autonomic processes, such as your immune system. Your immune system functions best when you're in rest, digest, and repair. Or your blood pressure can go down when you start to slow the breath down and focus on the exhales. When you are breathing, you want to focus on your breathing into the diaphragm. You want to focus on the tongue being on the top of the mouth. And you want to focus on breathing in and out of the nose. Sometimes we do breath through the mouth, but that's very stimulating. So when you're trying to sleep, doing nostril breathing is going to be more relaxing. And the next time I will talk more about your tongue and your eyes. Okay. Some of the like more nerdy parts of breath, like myofascial stuff of your tongue. Michelle asked me to clarify, because this is something that she's struggled with. A lot of people do paradoxical breathing. So this is where you breathe backwards. So when you inhale, you're drawing your belly button back, and when you exhale, you're pushing forward, and that's backwards. It's actually not the way your body is meant to function. So just a reminder, and we can try it. Take one hand to your abdomen and one hand to your chest. And then see if you can inhale and breathe into your hand that's on your abdomen. And then when you exhale, pull the belly button back. And just try that for a few cycles. And then people that have anxiety or poor breath mechanics often tend to, and see if you can notice me, like every time they breathe, they lift their shoulders. This is actually not, and that might be what you're doing. So when people, so everybody try it. So in yoga, when I'm teaching yoga teachers, I always make them try it the wrong way so that they can see. So like pretend that you're a yoga teacher, and I want you to inhale. When you inhale, lift your shoulders up and notice what happens to your belly. You feel how it goes back. And then when you exhale, you feel how it goes forward. So when you're breathing too high into your chest, you're not letting the breath stay in the diaphragm and belly area. You're breathing like this, a vertical breath instead of horizontal breath. You're going to create a lot more tension in the upper chest and neck area, and you're going to put yourself into fight or flight. So not to say you can't ever breathe into your chest. Like if you're being chased by a mountain lion, you need to run, you need to like or you're doing cardio, you need to get your breath up here. But we breathe a lot throughout the day. We don't want those little muscles in the chest getting activated that often throughout the day. That's going to create way too much tension. So trying to focus on keeping the breath lower into the abdomen and not so much into the chest. Does that make sense? So instead of breathing like we're breathing into our abdomen, and you'll see it in people now. This is going to teach you a lot about reading other people and noticing who around you is super stressed. You can just watch them and you can see. Do you have a question, Neil?
No, I just have a funny story
Yeah.
relative to that. I have a 9-month-old grandson, our first grandson, and they belly breathe.
Yes.
When he was, you could see when he was just, he took a nap or something like that, and you could actually see that. So it is something we almost unlearn, isn't it?
I teach a lot of seniors, and basically I tell them all the time, we're just learning how to be like babies again. We do tummy time, we do kneeling, we learn how to sit properly. I mean, it's just like learning how to become a baby. All you want to do is grow up, and then you grow up, and it's like all you got to do is be more childlike.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
yeah, so learning how to breathe like a baby. Okay, and then other thing, when you breathe a longer exhale than your inhale, it's going to relax your nervous system. It helps the vagus nerve, which is this long wandering nerve that wanders all through your body and is innervated through your organs, that sends information from your body up to your brain. And so we always think the brain's controlling, but the body is actually sending a lot of feedback up to the brain about how you're doing. And so when you make your exhale longer than your inhale, you are relaxing that nerve, and then your body will start to tell your brain that you're doing better. So it will relieve anxiety. It can slow the heart rate down. It can put you into rest, digest, repair. So it doesn't matter all these. I'm trying to give you like some guidelines because you can make your own breath techniques up once you know the rules. And so you could make any kind of formula you want up, knowing that if my exhale is longer than my inhale, it's going to be more relaxing to my nervous system. So, I could sit here and say, all right, everybody, pay me $500. I'm going to teach you the way to breathe to relax. And I could give you a crazy breath pattern. And I make literally one I just made up, knowing that rule, right? So you can do this yourself and play and figure out what's the ratio. Is it one beat longer, or is it double the amount of my inhale, or is it half that? Do I need to breathe out in for 3 and out for 5? You can kind of play. So the general thing that we do in yoga classes is we double it. Um, I don't know that that is required. I think it's more just ease for teaching a group, So like inhale 3, exhale 6. Because there is also like the 5-7-8 breath where you breathe in for 5, you hold for 7, and you exhale 8, right? Or 4-7-8 breath. And so like there's just so many different patterns and rules. And so really, truly, it's play around and see what feels better for you, and then write it down so you don't forget. It's all experimenting. Okay, and the other thing is that we have 3 different nervous system states. So you could be in freeze, which it's where you like if you look at someone and you can't really tell if they're breathing at all. Their limbs feel really heavy. They just feel kind of numb, feel shut down. That's freeze. If you're in that state, very, very small movements and creating safety is the way to get out. That is not the time to do big, like to shock the system. It's not, so it's tiny, tiny movements until you start to unthaw. You have sympathetic, which we do need. It's not, sometimes it gets a bad rap. That's your fight or flight. And this can be more activating breath. And I'm going to teach you all kind of stuff with that today. And that's more of that big movement. That does sometimes lead to chest breathing. If you have anxiety, though, you don't want to get yourself in that state. There's a middle ground, which is play, and this is when we do the shaking, right? Which is more can make you more open-minded and it's more silly. So play is more in the in-between of freeze and activated, right? We start kind of like doing weird dances. That's really trendy in the somatic world. I'm not going to make y'all dance, but if you like dancing, dancing can be a good way to get the energy going. And then the last one is ventral vagal, and this is rest, digest, repair, where your brain is focused and you don't have like crazy tight muscle tone and you feel sociable. And this would be the state that I would encourage to practice to be in most of the day. So the more you practice these practices I'm sharing with you, you'll be able to shift your nervous system so that when things happen, you don't get overwhelmed and you don't stay in your sympathetic so long that you get overwhelmed and you shut down. But instead, you have stuff happen and then you learn how to calm down so that you can get back to the middle. So it's like a wave throughout the day versus just a peak and you're staying up here and then you're like, I'm exhausted, and then you crash. Can everybody relate to that kind of feeling, or you just feel like overwhelmed, you're going to shut down? And then the last reminder is your body will give you signs that it likes what we're doing. So yawning, I just said it and then I started yawning. Yeah, so yawning, spontaneous sighs, if your eyes start watering, if you start laughing for really no reason, you don't know why you're laughing, tingling, temperature shifts, if you start shivering or your body starts trembling, that's your body discharging extra energy. And also feeling just less muscle tension. So if you start noticing your body just feels more relaxed after this practice, you know that there's something nugget in here that was working for you. So with those reminders, that was like a very short recap of what we did in an hour. So hopefully that kind of jogs some memories for you. And today we're going to talk about bilateral stimulation. So this is, you have the right and left side of your brain, and this is a way of breathing that activates both sides of your brain. Super good for you. It's usually done in a rhythmic way. And that's why, like, if you've ever done swimming or walking or bike riding, and you notice that you just think better afterwards, this is part of why, because it gets the logical part of your mind and the emotional part of your mind to start working together instead of just only having one mostly take over. Does anybody in here feel like they tend to be more logical or more emotional?
Logical.
Logical, yeah. So some problems are good, like if you're doing like a math problem, to be logical, but not all things are great when we're logical. And sometimes we need to be able to be smart plus heart. So when you can integrate both together, then it can reduce anxiety and tension. And so what happens when you do bilateral stimulation? Oh, on Spotify, you can even listen to playlists that you do need to wear headphones if you want to try it or get two speakers. But it's called binaural beats, and basically it's sound that comes in through each of your ears at different patterns, and it makes the right and left side of your brain turn on and off. Binaural beats, and it's super cool. So this can improve your focus and cognitive clarity. It can regulate the nervous system. It helps with emotional processing, and it can help you when you're trying to exercise. If you listen to music, it can help you integrate your senses and your movement together. I teach a group of seniors, and we do some workout stuff, and I put on oldies, which are just songs that they grew up listening to, and the memories of it help them move. And there's lots of studies that you might want to look into for Parkinson's and music if you don't know about them, that listening to music can actually help with your movement and your tempo and your pacing. So something to look into. So one thing you might not know is that the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body, and the left side of your body controls the right side of your brain. And the right side of your brain is for creativity, music, art, imagination, emotional processing. You are listening to the tone of my voice. Hopefully, I'm making you feel safe and comfortable. Expressions, you're watching my face. You're seeing I'm, leaning into you so that you can know I care about what I'm saying. It's your spatial awareness of where your body is in space, big picture thinking, and nonverbal communication. So when you get stressed, we get really narrow-minded and we don't observe the periphery. We are just black and white thinking. And so the right side of your brain helps you zoom out and be more open-minded. And then the left side of the body is language, speech, writing, grammar, logic, the ability to analyze, math, numbers, linear thinking, step-by-step problem solving, details, and breaking things into parts. So in this workshop, I have to use my left side of my brain to organize this. Otherwise, it would make no sense to you guys, and it would be frustrating, right? So I'm doing that for you, and hopefully you can just have the experience and listen to this a few times and try to be more in the right side of your brain and just see what happens. And when both sides have to work together for movement and emotional regulation. So if you're only in your logical, you're only thinking about the front of the brain, you're not thinking about emotional stuff, then people won't maybe take it as you care about them. You're just thinking black and white. And then you need it for good communication, and you need it for breath work. So if you're struggling with breath work, maybe today's practice will help you have a little more ease, because we'll be turning on both sides of the brain so that they can work together easier. And then this also supports neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to rewire itself. And so when there's parts of the brain that get damaged, neuroplasticity is what helps your brain kind of work around those damaged areas and still be able to function. And it's really exciting. Particularly, this is why breath work is so good for people that have Parkinson's, because of the bilateral stimulation. So also, keeping your brain where it's in that learning phase. Neuroplasticity, you'll know you're in it when you feel a little irritated. So this is why I tell my yoga teachers, when your students are getting irritated, it doesn't mean you stop. It just means that they are creating a new brain connection, and it's uncomfortable to do that. It's work. So I explain it like it's a path in the woods. The first time you walk down that path, you have to move the brush out of the way. It's work. But then like the 100th time you walk, your footsteps have worn things down, and it's easier. So if you feel frustrated, doesn't mean to stop. It doesn't mean to give up. It actually means that you're creating a new connection in your brain, and it's something that you need to keep doing. Now, that's not to say if you want to stay in a flow state. So if you're super mad and you just want to quit and then that's too much. You're doing too much too fast. But you don't want to also be bored where you can daydream at the same time. So we got to challenge ourselves to be in that place. Does everybody remember back in the elementary school when you were like learning division and it was hard and you were like a little frustrated, like your brain literally hurt? That's the feeling of neuroplasticity. And we just don't get it as much as adults unless you are like actively finding ways to get it. So it's an unfamiliar feeling for many, but it's very important, especially for healthy aging. Not even just for Parkinson's, just healthy aging, um, to keep learning and keep that uncomfortableness in there. I feel it with technology. So if, breath work might not be my thing that challenges me, but learning technology, I'm like, so
So can I just chirp in?
yeah.
So the Yale study that we were in talked about neuroplasticity and how by exercising in our classes, we are changing the makeup of the brain. And so, think about if we're doing it in class and we're doing breath work on top of that, we're getting it from all different angles. And that's why I believe breath work is beneficial to us. And so, we need to incorporate this. And we also, in our classes, 1 month is crossing the midline. That's one of our month's themes. So that's exactly what she's talking about today, that we're going to work on both sides of the brain and using patterns. And that's why the music will help with rhythm and keeping that pattern going.
Okay.
So everything she's saying is great for Parkinson's. So
Great.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm joining late.
That's okay. We're just reviewing and talking. Today we're going to do bilateral stimulation. So this can help us if you're losing, movement patterns or mood is going down. You can have some hope here by actively doing things to keep your
I've got bad
brain
internet.
functioning. Let me see if I can mute you. There you go. All right. So, one of the things with creating new pathways is you need to have repetition in order for that pathway to really get in there. And we do need to engage the brain in new ways. But when you're learning it, you want it to be slow. You don't want to do it super fast because you want the pattern to be like a good habit, good pattern foundationally put into the brain. So it is more important for quality over quantity when you're doing these practices. So if you're like, I love that technique, I want to practice it, instead of rushing, I really recommend you just give yourself some time and really try to practice it your best quality so that you get that groove in the mind in there, like with a good quality and not like a careless approach. So that's just my caveat, because sometimes we'll get excited and we'll try to do everything and then we just kind of rush through and we halfway do it. And then we're kind of teaching ourselves, we're creating a brain connection that's not really how we want it to be. And then being curious is important. So if you notice that you stop being curious, you stop having fun with it, take a break and then come back. Because I don't want it, our days get full and I just don't want to make this a task for anybody where it's like, oh, I got to do my breath work. And you're just like frustrated, you know? So keep it fun. Okay. So we are going to start with the same kind of protocol that we did last week, where we move from freeze to play to sympathetic to rest and digest. And this is just so that if you showed up today and you just feel kind of heavy and dull and unmotivated, that you can go along the ride with, and then, you know, if you're activated, it'll be good for you to slow down. And this might be something you want to think about when you practice at home. Is like if you've had a really busy day and you've been running around or doing things, then you stop and you start from the beginning and you work your way up versus just jumping right off to activating things. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move my chair back so you can see me better. And then if you could sit tall in your chair and feel your feet on the ground. I'm just going to put this down so you can see a little better. Okay. So we're going to start by letting ourselves orient to being in the space. And last week I offered you to look around your space and just notice what you find to be pleasant. And a question that I often ask people is like, how can you make yourself more comfortable? Because a lot of times we will push, 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 push. But if you're in the state of freeze, you really want to be creating safety. And safety is the most important part of breath work. If you want to start to advance your practice and make the breath work slower and for longer periods, safety is the foundation of breath. So take a moment and just notice if you can see something you enjoy in your space. It can be a color that you enjoy or an object. You can turn your head. That actually works with the vagus nerve in the neck. Next week, we'll talk about the eyes and the tongue and how they can impact your breath work. And it's actually, the tongue is super important for sleep. So if you're having troubles with sleep, definitely come. And then take one hand and place it on your heart and one hand on your abdomen. And then just breathe into the belly hands. We talked about high-low breath and we reviewed it again. And see if you can breathe in a way that you find to be comfortable. So in yoga classes, sometimes we'll call it samavriti, where we inhale for the count of 4 and we exhale for the count of 4. And then take one hand, the hand that's on your abdomen, and place it on your forehead. And press your hand that's on your heart and the hand that's on the forehead in towards the body. Keep breathing into your belly. Now, as if you are not in your freeze state, you're more in the sympathetic state, you might notice you feel bored by this, but try to stay with my pacing if you can. Take your hand that's on the heart and place it on the back of your head. So you have one hand on the forehead, one hand on the back of the head, and push them towards each other. Keep breathing into your belly. Yeah, and if you don't like the order, you can switch. If you want to put the other hand on the front. Good. And now keep breathing into your belly, but take both hands and hold them on either side of the head. And push in and pull your head upward. Keep breathing into your belly. Good. Now take a look. We're going to take our left hand and put it underneath our armpit and our right hand on the outer shoulder. And remember, your body's going to tell you it likes what you're doing. You might have a sigh, you might feel saliva in your mouth, you might yawn, you might feel like you want to laugh. Maybe not, most people don't laugh in this one, but there will be some that you feel like you want to laugh. And then switch your order of your hands. So we're crossing over, we're going really slow. Remember, if you're in the state of freeze, you want to do small, comforting movements to create safety. You don't want to rush yourself. You don't want to be hard on yourself. Good. We're going to move into a little bit of movement now. So this is butterfly tap. So you're going to cross your arms over your chest and you're just going to alternate tapping your hands. And while you're doing this, see if you can stay with your breath. So you can try to inhale for 4 and exhale for 4. And remember, when I say a number 4, it doesn't have to be seconds. It can be seconds, but doesn't have to. If you want to add eye movements in, you're going to look to the right and then look to the left. And we're going to talk about the eyes more next time, but if you're just introducing something new, you just slowly look to the right and slowly look to the left. So it's like pat your head, rub your belly. Maybe if you don't like the arms, you just only try the eyes. Remember, we're creating some new brain pathways. So if you've never done this before, your brain is having to figure out what's going on. And it takes the nervous system a little bit of time to get used to things. So giving yourself a chance before you stop. Good. And then come back to center and we'll do arm sweeps. So you're just going to gently rub down the arms. And this is a really good one if you're in your head and you need to kind of like wind it down. And you might try to see if you can touch yourself with your palm first. So palm and then drag down and palm and drag down. Notice if you feel like a little, this is kind of comforting. Good. And also notice if you're starting to feel a little bit more awake or present in your body. Your mind isn't focused on other things besides this, what we're doing right now. So we did this in the last series, but I'm going to remind you for those that attended last time, and some of you might be learning this for the first time. So this is sa, ta, na, ma. I'm going to come closer just so you can see. So it's sa, ta, na, ma. Okay, and bilateral stimulation because we're doing things with both sides of the body. So if you'll take your palm and you'll have it facing upward, touch your thumb and pointer finger together and say out loud, sa. And then you go to the next finger, ta, na, ma. So it's SATANAMA. All right. And so what we're going to do is we'll say it out loud for a little while, then we'll whisper it, and then we'll do it in our mind. Okay. This is very well studied. You can look it up. There's lots of brain benefits. Some people encourage you to do it 12 minutes a day, 4 minutes of out loud, 4 minutes of whisper, and 4 minutes of silence. That's quite intense. I've done it before. It's pretty intense. But if you could also just do it for a little bit till you feel complete and then move on. Okay. So we're just going to do it out loud. We're not going to do it for 12 minutes. But when you're ready, we'll say it out loud. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. One more out loud. Sa, ta, na, ma. Start to whisper. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, ta, na, ma. Two more. Sa, ta, na, ma. Keep going. Say it in your mind. Two more. Good. And then open the eyes. So you could pair this with your breath. The original breath practices came from yogic mantras that were chanted. You would have to breathe in certain ways to say the mantra. And then they started to add in breath patterns and counts. But you could inhale, 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 exhale, 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 if you wanted to pair it with your breath. So an inhale for 4 and an exhale for 4. But also feel that when you're saying the word sa, ta, you're taking a breath every time. So you are also practicing breath work while you are doing this bilateral stimulation. So there's a lot going on with it. A lot of these practices are about getting the technique in, and then the hard part is building the endurance of being able to do it for 4 minutes or 12 minutes. A lot of people, they like to do things for 30 seconds and then move on, right? But if you find some techniques that you really like, you can start to work to do it for longer periods of time. I mean, some of the yogis would do things for like days. So there's no limit to how long you can do it. You can do it. You're never going to advance out of breath work. Okay, so did everybody feel more present in their body and a little bit more? So let's do our tree. So you're going to shake your arms, and this is to help us move more into play. I really like this one. Why did the windows all change? Does that mean? Okay. Oh, okay. So we're going to keep on shaking, shaking, shaking. All right, and now we're going to start to move into more of our sympathetic activation. So what I want you to do is we're going to start marching our arms and legs. So when you march your right leg up, lift your left arm up, and you're just going to go back and forth like this. So opposite arm and leg. Keep going, marching. Opposite arm and legs. This is bilateral stimulation. We are working the right and left side of the body. And if you're breathing at the same time, if you want to breathe in for, a certain amount of marches and breathe out for a certain amount of marches, you can. Good. And then come back to center. And now we're just going to do cross body reaches. So you're just going to reach across and then reach across. Maybe you want to do both arms across. Both arms across. And just notice how it feels. Notice how a lot of our culture is addicted to intensity. So notice if this kind of stuff feels a little more familiar to you. And if you like this kind of stuff more than more of the slower breath. All right, good. And now watch me. We're going to do, this is called Breath of Joy, but I'm teaching it to you in a chair. So you can do this standing as well. So it's a sniff, a sniff, a sniff, and then an exhale. So it sounds like this. Ha! All right. So, and this might cause laughter. That's why it's called Breath of Joy. All right. So we're going to do this for a few rounds. So you inhale, 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 and then exhale through the mouth. Ha! 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 Two more. Good. And then just notice how you feel. Notice if you feel a little more energized. If you feel maybe even like that was really silly and you kind of want to laugh. But this is something that if you're, in a funk and you've got to get going, you need to go to like hang out with people. is a good one to know about. And then we're going to try the physiological sigh. This is by the Huberman Lab. He kind of brought it. I don't know. I don't think he invented it, but he made it more mainstream. So you go. So it's 2 quick sniffs and then a long sigh from the mouth. Couple more. Good. And just notice that you might feel, they call it euphoric. Some people also call it dizzy. But if you get a lot more oxygen in your body than you typically have, then you can feel a little lightheaded. You can feel a little giddy. And some people really like the way that feels. And so they want to practice this. This is also a good technique to practice right before you need to exercise. You know, got to amp yourself up. You're not feeling like you want to exercise. You can do more of these quick and the breath of joys and stuff like that to kind of work yourself up to exercise. Go ahead and take your hands and rub them together. So this is also bilateral stimulation, and this creates heat. Good. And then we can also do, you can do like clap your hands on your thighs and like rhythm. You remember those games where you'd like do the like, you see girls doing these, So you can do, and you can also do like opposite leg. This is bilateral stimulation, and it's also working on the rhythm. And then if you had a song in the background, it might help you even more. And maybe you pick up the speed and you try to challenge yourself to go a little quicker. And this is going to help you mentally process things on a logical and also an emotional level. Good. Okay. And then rest, because I know that probably felt like, when will we stop this? Notice how you feel after doing those sort of sympathetic activities. The last one that I'll teach you for sympathetic to this time is Kapalabhati breath. So the breath pattern is a quick sniff out of the nose. So you go, and while you sniff, you draw the belly button back. And it's almost like a bug flew up your nose and you're blowing it out. You don't try to inhale in this one. Your body will just do that on its own. And if you want more, like a more energizing experience, you take your arms up higher than your shoulders. And when you exhale, you blow out of the nose and the belly button goes back. And you can go quicker too. And then release. And so you can build time in this one. It's very, very activating where you do it for a certain amount of reps. So like with beginners, sometimes I'm even like, okay, let's do it 6 times and then we'll rest. And then more advanced, I could say, let's do it 48 times and then do multiple rounds. So the technique is you take a half inhale, you put your arms up, and then you begin. And then you exhale and you inhale and you exhale. And noticing the difference is the most important part of these practices. So noticing how you feel afterwards. Did you feel lightheaded? Did you feel energized? Did you feel less stressed? Did you feel more stressed? This is very, very, very important so that you can personalize your practice. In these experiences here, I'm teaching you techniques, but you really don't get the experience until you practice on your own for a little while. And then you're going to know. So it's kind of like learning how to cook. I could teach you a recipe and you could like do it with me, but you really don't know it till you've made it a bunch of times at home on your own. So next week, if I any of these practices you try, if you have questions, please ask me, and also you can always email me. All right. So how are we feeling? Are you feeling more are you feeling more present? Don't know.
I did stifle a yawn, actually.
You
Didn't
did
realize.
don't stifle your yawns. Let yourself yawn.
Yeah, I didn't realize till I was done, and I said, "Oh my gosh, that was one of the signs you said to look for." So
Yeah. We didn't do last week, we did a roaring practice, I think, right? We did that in here. So let's try roaring again. So everybody look at somebody on the screen and go roar. Let's, yeah,
Roar,
roar.
Rawr,
roar,
Yeah, roar.
roar, roar,
Right. And if you feel like you want to
roar,
laugh, your body likes
roar.
this, right? But this also releases tension in the jaw. We'll talk about all that stuff next time, because sometimes breath doesn't flow as well when the mouth, the jaw, the nose are not opened up and prepared properly. So we'll talk about that. Okay, we're going to start to downshift into our rest, digest, and repair. And the reminder is that some people need to get rid of extra energy so they can relax. So if you like these more relaxing styles of breath, but you try them and you're like, I just can't do it, right? I can't, I can't focus, I get antsy. Consider doing some of this movement before you try the breath, because you might just have so much extra energy in you that you're just used to having, you don't even realize you have it, that you need to let go of first. Does anybody get the zoomies, or do you have a pet that gets the zoomies? So this is like, you see this with little dogs, like they run around back and forth, or like my cats do it, and they just have extra energy they need to let go of. So I get the zoomies. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you didn't know it's called the zoomies. One of my clients, she said she gets the zoomies and she just gets up and unloads her dishwasher and like cleans her kitchen every night before bed. Just how she gets rid of them. So, I mean, maybe you do have them. You just didn't know that there was a thing. All right. So parasympathetic, I'm going to teach you how to massage your lymph, some of the lymph. And does anybody here have allergies? If you ever, yeah, okay. So this is good to know. Now this does matter. Some things are like not rules and some things are, and this is a rule. Okay. So like this does matter. You above your collarbone on both sides is the opening of the lymphatic system. And whenever you're going to do any sort of lymphatic massage, you want to start here. And you just lightly massage. And it's not like a massage, like a back rub. It's more like you're moving your skin. It's really light. And you're just going to go back and forth. So we're moving into rest, digest, repair. We woke ourselves up. If you were feeling kind of like sluggish and unmotivated, we moved and got rid of excess energy. And now we're calming back down. So you just massage back and forth. And look, and if you use opposite hands, you're working on, this is bilateral simulation. Okay. And then you're going to go down the sides of the neck. And this is very light pressure towards the terminus. And that's that opening at the collarbones. And it's just very soft light pressure. Like you're moving your skin, not really like you're trying to give yourself a hard massage. Notice if you swallow, you have saliva in your mouth. And then the last one, it's kind of a weird hand position. You take your ring and pinky and you spread it. It's kind of like a Star Trek thing. And you squeeze your ear and you pull down. So it looks like this. And you squeeze your ear and you pull down. And you can do both. And remember, if you're getting frustrated, you're like, wait, what? This is creating a new pathway. And if you don't like it, you can also just make it up with your hands. But Just teaching you the technique that I was taught. Good. And then you're going to go back down the neck and you can cross over so that you get that bilateral stimulation. And then you can massage the collarbone area again. And you can go back and forth. And if you do it in a rhythmic way, then it's good for that bilateral stimulation with the mind. Good. And then just notice, do you feel more relaxed? If you do, this might be something to do at bedtime. The other thing that you can practice is, let's see, humming. So some people say that if your vagus nerve is functioning properly, that you should be able to hum for 10 seconds. Now, I haven't found any studies on this, but I would say if you are having trouble humming for a significant count of time, that you might be stressed. So what I'm going to have you do is you're just going to inhale, and then you're going to go, and so we'll just do it as long as you can. Okay? Ready? How'd it go? Did you run out of air? Did you make it? So notice how we're going to do it again. Notice how when you hum, there's a vibration here in the nose and in the throat. And if you have allergies, it could be good to vibrate there, right? And also, it's a practice. See if you can, when you hum, well, no, actually, we're not gonna try that. Never mind. See if when you hum, you can keep your lips together and feel the vibration. All right, ready? Out. Did anybody else run out the second time? Did you make it? Yeah. Okay, good. So this is a good practice. You can people that tend well in IIN, one of the teachers was saying that people that tend to have a pleasant mindset tend to whistle and hum and kind of like when they're living life. So if you catch yourself humming, you might notice, oh, I'm actually happy. I'm in a good mood. Or if you need to get into a good mood, maybe try to hum a little bit and see if it shifts anything for you, because it does help the vagus nerve, which, remember, is that long wandering nerve that sends information to the brain about how you're doing. All right, I want to do one more practice so I can save time for questions, and it's heart coherence. And this is one that I try to include frequently because it has been studied to improve heart rate variability. So if you have an Apple Watch or some kind of app that tracks your biometrics, heart rate variability is a measure of your nervous system. So when you wake up in the morning, if it's low, it's a sign that your nervous system is stressed. And if it's high, it's a sign that your nervous system is happy. And it's a really good resource to kind of know if these practices are working for you or if your lifestyle is working for you. So heart coherence breath was created by the Heart Math Institute. And in order to practice it correctly, you do need to try to do seconds. Okay. So the way you do it is you bless you, you focus on your heart. Bless you. And also, Michelle just reminded me, we're going to talk about sneezing next time too. Okay, so you focus on your heart space. You can put your hands there. Sometimes the hands just help me. You focus on a memory, or you try to feel the emotion of love, compassion, joy. And you breathe in for 5 seconds and out for 5 seconds. So it's the heart space, the emotion of love or joy. In for 5 seconds. and out for 5 seconds. Good. And then you can open your eyes. So that one you can practice for longer and longer periods of time as you feel comfortable. And then a teaser one for next time. It's a bilateral breath. It's called alternate nostril breathing. And I just want to introduce it to you, and then we'll work on it more next time. There's different finger positions you can use, but basically you inhale through one nostril, close, exhale, inhale, close, exhale, inhale, close, exhale, inhale, close, exhale. So that's just a teaser because that one, there's a lot going on that I want to really give time about the nostrils and the tongue and all kind of things. So just a teaser so that it's not your first time getting shown that breath next week if you haven't seen it before. So before we'll officially end our practice, and then I'll give time for questions. So you can take your hands, let's put them over the heart space. And I say this at the end of every class. Take an inhale and exhale. What you do for yourself, you do for others, and what you do for others, you do for yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Thank you for allowing me to guide you in this practice. The light in me honors and sees the light in you. I bow to you. Thank you, everyone. And I do want to open it up if you do have any questions. I would love to support you in your breath practice.
Did you say the waking if your heart rate, is it your heart rate that you said if that's
Heart
low?
rate variability. So it's not your heart rate.
Okay,
Heart rate variability.
I understand. Okay.
HRV is what you can, when you look up on the internet, heart rate
Okay.
variability. And that breath practice, the heart coherence breath, is one that has been studied to regulate your heart rate variability to make it where it's higher. It's good for your
Oh,
nervous system.
How do you measure heart rate variability?
So I have an Apple Watch. I used to have a Fitbit, and basically it keeps track of your heartbeat throughout the day, and then it takes the average of all of the different fluctuations of your heartbeat throughout the day, and basically it's a measurement of how responsive your heart is to the things going on. So when you inhale, your heart beats quicker, and when you exhale, your heart beats slower. And so when things happen, the way you breathe and the way your heartbeat changes, and it's a measurement of how quickly your heart responds, but then also comes back to normal. So we want the fluctuations of our breath, of our heartbeat, to be big throughout the day, right? We don't want to just have, no matter what happens, our heart's beating like this. We want our heart to, when something happens, we have to react to react and then to come back down. So if your nervous system isn't functioning like it could, then you might just kind of be in like a regular pattern throughout the day, but that's actually not healthiest for your heart. You want it to respond and then to go back down, right? So you don't want it up here all day either. You don't want it, you want it to be able to do this and then come down. So if you get one of those devices, you do have to wear it for a certain amount of time. Somebody else told me they have it's called a Whoop band. I think that's more affordable. You can look it up, but you have to wear it to sleep. and it's on just, on your wrist. And then in the morning, you look at it and it will tell you
But
what,
you want more variability rather than less? I'm confused.
yes, you want more, you want it to be higher. So you like this morning, mine was 94. Um, Before I started doing breath practices, mine would be in the 20s.
Wow.
And I was just super stressed. I was stressed, but I didn't feel stressed because I was used to it. And then
This
when I
seemed
started,
counterintuitive to me. I thought you wanted a low heart rate.
so it's not your heart rate, it's the fluctuations of the beats. So
Oh,
it's the heart beats in a pattern, right? And you don't want your pattern to always be the same. You want it to respond to what's happening. You might have to like get out of the way of a snake, right? And then you want it to go back down to regular. So it's how responsive your nervous system is to life and how much it can react and then calm back down.
and what measures that? Because my Fitbit doesn't measure that.
Are you sure? Did you look in the app and see if it might be
I'll
measuring?
look. I can see if it measures it.
Yeah, look it up because I used to have a Fitbit. If it doesn't, you might have to either just not know about it or get a different device. But I had a Fitbit and it worked. It measured it. It could only see it in the app.
On your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I will same time next week, and I hope that you got at least one thing that you could work on and think about. Remember, this is always there.
I kind of want to make a comment for everybody because I think we're all in the same boat. We learned a lot of different techniques in the past 2 days, and I look at it like, oh my God, what am I going to use in my life? And I forget what was taught. We can look back at the videos, but I think I just made a bullet list of some of the things that we did, and I can share that with you. Just bullets of, satanama, humming, neck massage, so that just piques my memory to say, oh yeah, I remember the satanama. But last time we did breathwork, I know the people asked for a sequence for her to make a sequence, but she doesn't want to do that because everyone likes different things and feels different practices make each of us feel different. So I think if I have my bullet list and then I start using some of them, then I can make my own sequence. And I think that's what she wants us to do. And the other thing is in life, if you're having a stressful moment, you're in traffic, you're late somewhere and you can't get there because of traffic or something, I start doing one of these breathing techniques, and it really does. When I focus on my breathing, now I'm not driving with my eyes closed, but whatever the situation is, if I just do a few minutes of even a minute of this breath work, one of them, it just totally makes me feel more relaxed. And so I like having the different techniques to throw into my life when needed. And I think that's, what this is all about. So that's my comment.
And I will tell you that I'm about 8 or 9 years into this, and I just now started getting curious about the details, which I'm sharing with you stuff that I've been learning this stuff for 8 years, and I was just like so basic at the beginning, right? Just like inhale 4, exhale 4 was like all I knew, and that's all I did. And I'm giving you guys 8 years worth of knowledge in 2 hours. So you're not gonna receive it all. It's not gonna be interesting to you or it's overwhelming, but if you're ready for it, there's gonna be certain things that you're gonna keep. And then you just listen to it again or listen to it in a year and then something else. Like, have you ever seen a movie and then you saw it 5 years later and you're like, I don't even remember that. I didn't even register that, right? So it's the same thing as these teachings are timeless, and you'll get different things every time you come back around to it. So no stress. Whatever you get, you get.
Yeah, a bulleted list is a great way to do it, Michelle, because just to kind of spark, your memory about that,
Yeah. I
That's a
agree
Right.
with
good
that.
way. Yeah, I like that idea.
And I'll send it out to you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you next week.
Happy Memorial.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
don't know how to end it.
Bye-bye.